Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Harvey Levin here.
Fabian here.
Derek here.
I think Kanye West may be Alex Jones Part 2.
Yeah.
And I really mean that. I think that there is, at this point, even a stronger case. Well, I shouldn't say that. There is a similar case against Kanye West by George Floyd's family, just the way the Sandy Hook victims went after Alex Jones. Kanye West is basically denying the verdicts, and I say verdicts because it wasn't just Chauvin. There was state, there were federal charges, there were guilty pleas, there were convictions, murder convictions. And there is video. Even with Sandy Hook, you didn't have, thank God, the video of this massacre the way you see Derek Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's neck. So I think that there is a lawsuit that could be brewing.
With what claims, though? Like what allegation?
Emotional distress.
You can't. Yeah, defamation's off the table, obviously, because he's dead.
He's dead. But certainly the gravamen of the Alex Jones case was emotional distress, that you have taken families that have endured this kind of horrible tragedy and you have put them on blast. You have upset them beyond words. I see a similarity between that and Kanye West.
Yeah, I mean, if George Floyd's family follows through, so maybe we should explain. Lee Maher, who's a civil rights attorney, very famous, represents a lot of people in these high-profile cases. He announced over the weekend that George Floyd's family is considering a lawsuit against Kanye. He mentioned that defamation's off the table, emotional distress might be on the table. But if Kanye is going to be sued, then Candace Owens should probably be sued too. We should mention that Kanye West in this Drink Champs interview is repeating talking points that Candace Owens made in her new documentary, which is BLM, The Greatest Lie Ever Told, where she basically makes the case that George Floyd didn't die as a result of Chauvin pinning George Floyd down, but of a fentanyl overdose and because of heart problems that he had. That's something that Chauvin's attorney also argued in court.
Unsuccessfully,
right.
But they did levy these arguments, and Candace Owens is.
And we should mention that there was, in fact, fentanyl in George Floyd's system at the time.
Just the coroner said that's not what killed him. Derek Chauvin's knee did.
Right.
We have some audio of what Candace Owens or what Kanye West said.
Yeah.
I watched the George Floyd documentary that Candace Owens put up. One of the things that his two roommates said was, they want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. And the day when he died, he said a prayer for, 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. He said a prayer for 8 minutes. They hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that. When he said mama is his girlfriend. They said he screamed for his mama. Mama was his girlfriend. It's in the documentary. But something that hit me, that fucked me up when I was watching the documentary, and it said, they want a tall guy like me. When I looked at that image of him, this tall black dude with the bald head, he reminded me of somebody else. Who do you think he reminded me of?
Virgil.
He reminded me of Virgil. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna cry in front of y'all because that's how they get me, right?
Right.
But I know that we lost him. And I know that this white company, Louis Vuitton, is now making statues of him, like as a martyr. And we don't know why exactly. We say it's cancer.
But all right. I want to be careful with this subject because.
Wait a second, but tell me, could you even really run this interview? Because Mav didn't run my interview.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They blocked me out. The Jewish media blocked me out. This shit lit, right? I'm lit, right? I'm lit.
The Jewish media.
I don't even know where to begin.
I don't know how you start to walk these things back. I mean, Kanye has been on sort of rants before, but the length of time that he's been on this particular Jews run the media,
right.
I don't see him ever
Can we
walking
just
this
say
back. I agree
he
with
is
you
a
that he's
full-fledged anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Can we now
sure.
say that?
He's
I
definitely
think you have to say it. This is
at this
like
point.
a full-fledged Jew hater.
I think it's moved beyond a sort of conversation about mental illness, which the earlier Kanye rants were about. This is about sort of his worldview and how he has sort of presented himself over an extended period of time. I think you're right. He's exposing himself to potential lawsuits and things of that nature.
Well, hold on. You're a lawyer.
Alex Jones.
You're a lawyer. Potential lawsuits. A lawsuit can be filed.
For sure.
Does the family have a chance?
They have a chance, certainly, in this climate. I don't think it's as clean as the Alex Jones situation.
I think it's cleaner.
No, certainly not as clean as the
Alex
Jones
Jones for years was going on about Sandy Hook and had a big platform. Kanye made one comment.
Well, it doesn't matter that it's one comment, but Alex Jones was saying that there were actors
hold
that
on,
were
hold on,
staging the Sandy Hook.
That goes to damages. That doesn't go to liability. In other words,
I'm just saying that if George Floyd family wants to sue anybody, sue Candace Owens, because she's the one for years now, literally years, like 2 years at this point, who's been going on about this whole George Floyd narrative.
I'm saying both.
I don't think. I mean, Kanye's probably not on the.
You just heard him.
It was not nearly as strong as what Candace Owens. By the way, he's repeating talking points that she made in her documentary. So the documentary is the source.
How did Kanye become?
And Chauvin's lawyers did argue some of the fentanyl points in the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So those are more contested than the actors in Sandy Hook.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, the fentanyl has been already decided beyond a reasonable doubt.
But it was still
the
there,
fentanyl was a point of contention that children were actors.
There are different experts
rejected by the jury beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, but how much does that hold up in a civil lawsuit, though?
Here's how it holds up. There is a principle in the law called. I'm going to explain. There's a principle in the law called res judicata, which means that something has been decided, you can't retry it again. If there is a criminal case first, which is a much higher standard than a civil, and the criminal jury, beyond a reasonable doubt, said that Derek Chauvin's knee caused the death of George Floyd and it was murder, and you have the other three in consort, then it becomes, I think, res judicata as to what killed George Floyd in a civil trial, because it's already been decided beyond a reasonable doubt. So then, if it's res judicata, fentanyl is irrelevant. I mean, I could smoke marijuana right now, and you could shoot me. But if you shoot me, you don't really have a defense that, well, I might have died from marijuana in my system.
It's
the
apples
same.
To oranges.
No.
Fentanyl could actually kill you.
I know.
Lethal
I know it can.
Marijuana's not.
I know it can, but it didn't. It doesn't always kill you. They actually use fentanyl in hospitals.
Yeah.
And so all I'm saying is it's res judicata. And so they're not going to be able to argue, well, it was actually fentanyl. Been decided, done, ship has sailed.
I'm very curious. I don't actually think George Floyd's family is going to sue Kanye. I think Lee Merritt is just puffing his chest a little bit to shut Kanye up. But if they do so, I'm very curious to see how it plays out. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. We are going to move on to, I just love this Barack Obama thing.
It dovetails into what Bill Maher said.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Well, it hits a little bit differently when a beloved former president espouses these views. I mean, Bill Maher certainly has a reputation as a guy who
speaks the truth
and pushes certain issues, though. Barack Obama is beloved by liberals and Democrats. So when he talks about cancel culture being corrosive to the Democratic Party and hurting their political chances.
It just proves that Bill Maher was right all along.
But hey, listen, Bill made the point earlier. You're 100% right, but you got to admit it hits different when people hear it from Barack Obama.
So should we hear?
You should listen to it.
Yeah, let's listen to it real fast.
Whenever, as you know, you guys know well, whenever I got a little too professorial and started when I was behind a podium as opposed to when I was in a crowd, there were times where I'd get sound like I was given a bunch of policy gobbledygook, and that's not how people think about these issues. They think about them in terms of the life I'm leading day to day. How does politics how is it even relevant to the things that I care most deeply about? My family, my kids, work that gives me satisfaction, having fun, not being a buzzkill, right?
That's a lesson for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and sometimes Democrats are, right? It's like, sometimes people just want to not feel as if they are walking on eggshells, and they want some acknowledgement that life is messy and that all of us at any given moment can, say things the wrong way, make mistakes.
Walking on eggshells.
Yeah. I mean, look, to hear him say that in his sort of very calm manner, he's not on a late night show, he's not sort of making jokes about it.
Yeah.
It's very right. I mean, it's sort of manifestly obvious that Barack Obama won 2 elections by building a broad base coalition to win the election. By alienating people into sort of the depths of identity politics, you're going to lose elections.
Yeah.
And he's sort of very practical about it, right? I mean, he's saying if the Democratic Party, whose values I believe in, wants to actually have power, you need to sort of change.
So I have a
course.
question. Is Obama, and I guess Bill Maher we're going to get to in a second, but are they basically saying that the Democrats just stop focusing so much on social issues and get back to actual policy?
I don't think.
And
I don't think
I
they
think
are.
that's all this kind of comes down to: social issues, like trans stuff. Like there's all sorts of social issues, but like I'm confused between like cancel culture and PC culture. What are we actually?
That's part of it. I think that's part of it.
Well,
Those aren't winning issues.
No, but there are social issues. The Republicans are running on social issues. I think what he's saying is pick social issues. Don't attack everybody for the tiniest misstep and say cancel them because of what they said. Do that by saying everybody's walking on eggshells. I think what he's telegraphing is what most people are feeling right now. That and I will say it. We talk about this in the office. What are you allowed to say without getting attacked these days? Right. I mean, we talk. The 3 of us have talked about that in the office for a year now. About what are you allowed to say? What crosses the line? What joke aren't you able to tell? It's like the Democrats have this kind of cancel machine gun that they're just spraying at people, and not all Democrats. I think.
Well, it's hitting some of their own, too. That's the problem. It's cannibalizing good-hearted people who have the right motives, not just Republicans who are always going to hate Democrats, and there's going to be people across the aisle. When you look for sort of litmus tests and orthodoxy in a particular direction, you're going to hit your own party as well. And that's what he's saying. This is not a way to win elections because liberal-minded people are also fleeing from that.
It's true.
And that's the big problem. Bill Maher was on Politically Correct for 30 years. He's not considered a conservative guy. All of a sudden, liberals find him conservative.
Well, no.
That's nuts.
You know why?
That is nuts.
But you know why they do? Bill Maher dares to call these people out. That he's finally saying, I am a Democrat. I am a liberal Democrat.
His values are progressive.
But I am left of center. I'm not radically left of center.
Right.
And the fact is,
and that's kind of where the Democratic Party has gone.
That's where
it's been captured by that. It's holding the party hostage.
But the reason for that is because of Donald Trump, because he was so extremely far to the right that the response to that was
to tack extremely hard left to the Bernie Sanders of the world and the AOCs of the world.
And
that's a bad move.
And what you just said is so perfect for what Bill Maher talked about on Friday night, which is that you say that the people on the right have pushed people on the left further left. Well, now what Bill Maher is saying is, why are people on the right crazy? Herschel Walker he's insane.
It's a symptom of the hard left.
Yeah. He is when you look
Herschel
at
Walker is a bona fide idiot. I'm sorry.
But just calling him an idiot, why is he in an election? And Bill Maher's trying to explain why does this guy exist on the political spectrum?
Right,
an idiot, a liar, duplicitous, hypocritical,
has no business looking for a Senate seat.
And
we can all know.
And just dumb.
Just dumb.
And and Bill Maher asked the question.
So why is this guy even allowed to enter the race and be considered?
Why did he win a primary? Why is he? Why is he going head to head now with Warnock? I mean, it is a horse race now.
It's
close. Why are Republicans embracing these
clearly
crazy
unqualified people? Right.
Here's what Bill Maher said.
And finally, new rule: someone must explain Herschel Walker. And how, in a supposedly sophisticated country, a person with his resume could ever be elected to office. Although the answer might be a little more complicated than you think. For the past month, there's been a lot written about how Republicans standing behind a guy like Walker means they've lost all sense of integrity. Really? Just now? Why do Republicans stand by him? Now, the easy answer is they're deplorables, ignorant and bad, and yes, there is some of that. But I'm sorry, if I'm going to stay in America, and America is going to stay America, I can't write off half the country that easily. Also, I talk to deplorables. So let me try to translate. Not endorse, but translate for liberal America. Part of the appeal of a Herschel Walker or a Donald Trump or any number of egregious assholes Republicans have backed is, in their mind, the worse a candidate is, the more it says to Democrats, do you see how much we don't like what you're selling? All that socialism and identity politics and victimhood and oversensitivity and cancel culture and white self-loathing and forcing complicated ideas about race and sex on kids too young to understand it. Literally anything would be better than that.
Well,
I think about this a lot. I think about when people try to say the deplorables like this rhetoric. I think what Bill is saying is that's not all of it. What they are responding to is
what they perceive as extreme ideology being shoved down their throats.
Yeah, they want the strongest possible response to that nonsense, which is so toxic to them. They're not so in favor of Herschel Walker.
You're right.
But he is the ultimate antidote to that nonsense.
Right.
And when you've
Which
driven
is sad.
the right
It's
to the
sad that-
Herschel Walkers of the world, you have to put the mirror on yourself and look at your own party and what you've done to cause this.
Right.
And I think Bill Maher is absolutely correct. It's too facile, too simple to say that the Republicans are awful. They're 40% of the country is in Donald Trump's camp.
Right.
40%. That's not all deplorable, awful people who see themselves as nasty tyrants. That's
So I have a
just
quick
not the
question.
case.
So he touched on the things that supposedly are pissing off people on the right that would cause them to embrace Herschel Walker are things like identity politics and enforcing, sex ideology and race ideology, all this type of stuff onto kids.
People favorably talking about communism.
Right. And so
they don't
what is
like
that? CRT, critical race theory. And these are things that guys like Ron DeSantis in Florida is firmly standing against. That's why I think he's a rising star in the Republican Party, because he's drafting laws and signing things into law in Florida saying we're keeping this shit out of schools. But even that's controversial too, though. You know what I mean? So it's I just don't think it's as black and white as Bill's making it. Let's.
but
you know what I mean?
Fabian,
because there's a lot of people that
I know, but
that would embrace that type of stuff being taught to kids too. You know what I mean? So
Fabian, I get it. Ron DeSantis, as much as I disagree with him, he is a different.
On what front, though? You know what I mean?
I disagree with him on policy, but I'm not saying he's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying. What policy, though? Because if you're saying you agree with Bill Maher on this, he's basically echoing things that Ron DeSantis is saying. So what exactly are we agreeing or disagreeing on?
I'll tell you what we're talking about. It's not Ron DeSantis. It is the Donald Trumps, who sounds like a 1930s dictator.
The Marjorie Taylor Greene,
the Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Walkers,
the Bobarts, the
Lauren Boebert.
It's the crazies that are still getting embraced. And the question is, if it's just embracing views, you could probably find Republicans who aren't insane who could, espouse those views. But they are gravitating to the crazies. And what he's saying is, it's like we're going to punch you in the face, punch you in the eye, because we hate what you stand for so much. This is our reaction to it, that we'll embrace
anybody,
unqualified, insane people.
Right.
And I think that's what Maher is saying. And
they're sending
honestly,
an extremely strong
and
signal.
I think kind of Obama is saying that.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking as well. I mean, look at the Republican Party has turned away from the quote-unquote sort of moderates of their party, the Mitt Romneys, the Liz Cheneys. They're all gone. They're ostracized.
Right.
They're saying this is what we'll take as a preference to people like AOC. And that is something that the party has to reconcile, has to wrestle with.
We have Biden as president, who is the moderate Democrat.
And Biden's approval ratings are terrible.
But they're getting better. But they're getting better.
Marginally.
Well,
marginally.
but
marginally.
Again, we are also at a historic inflation. We have historic inflation right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And
we're about to go into a recession.
And I got to tell you, with all
and he will take the blame for that. That's just what happens.
And you're probably right. You're probably right.
Blame.
But with all of these issues coming up, abortion and everything else, I may be wrong, but I think people are I think the most important thing to people right now is inflation. I just do.
This
just seems so simple.
I believe. I mean, honestly, to me, economics is always the driver in politics. To me,
James Carville said it's the economy, stupid. That's
exactly,
the whole point.
And that's what Obama's actually saying too. He's saying people aren't so much worried about all these social issues and trying to be PC and all this bullshit. People just want to know, how am I going to feed my family?
What does my 401k look like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day, that's all that really matters to people. So I agree that like Democrats are running on losing issues, and I'm very interested to see how the midterms play out.
Me too. I've been thinking about it.
It's a month away. We'll see.
I voted yesterday.
Oh wow, nice! I got my ballot.
Good for you.
God, there were a lot. There was a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah.
There was a lot. Okay.
I think that's it. Are we wrapped or
no?
is there more?
We have 2 more things I want to talk about.
Christ.
Okay,
Now we're
real
getting to
quick. We'll do these quick.
More fun issues.
I think Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez are going to get married soon.
Yeah, tell me why. I mean, they're canoodling like they're Lady and the Tramp in Rome.
Well,
I mean, they're basically pushing meatballs across the table with their nose.
Yeah, I mean they've been doing this for a while now.
It's been more than 3 years.
It's a very long term.
And they're making out in Rome. They're living together. They've been together now 3.5 years.
So what makes you think that they're going to get married now as opposed to a year ago?
Fabian's right. This
I'll tell you why.
Jet-setting life happens for him all the time.
Right.
So you know, going to Rome, we might say, oh, they're taking a huge trip to Rome. Maybe he's gonna.
It's not Rome.
He travels all over the world.
He travels all over the world all the time. You can't
It's
read
not
any tea
about
leaves.
Rome. It's about when you were with somebody for 3.5 years and you still you're making out with them, you know, at a table eating pasta.
They are in love.
It's like they're in love, and they seem like the marrying kind. They've both been married, and they seem to like marriage, and they could just live together, I suppose. But I think they like marriage.
I'll tell you why I disagree. He still is smarting from not giving.
Mackenzie.
I mean, he lost half his wealth.
He did.
Half,
he got
half
it back.
wealth.
He got it back.
He did, but he would be
During the pandemic, he got it back.
He got a lot of it back during the pandemic. He's lost a lot of it in the
but
more
that's
recent
like
recessionary
Yeah, but
environment. You're right.
he would have lost that anyway.
Absolutely, but you know, he could still be the richest man on earth, which matters to these guys. And I don't know that he wants to go down that road again. Maybe if he signs an absolutely airtight prenup.
Well, you know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So he signs a prenup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. That could happen.
By the way,
but if she's like
Lauren
what
is
about love?
also she's not a billionaire, but Lauren is also extremely rich.
I forget what is Lauren. Who is Lauren Sanchez again? What is she famous for exactly? What's her thing?
Lauren.
Can someone explain?
No,
I legit don't remember who she is.
Lauren Sanchez was a reporter slash
personality
anchor in Los Angeles. She was on, I believe she started on KTLA, went over to Channel 11 on Fox.
Wow.
A very famous face here in California.
Talk about a come up. That's crazy.
And, you know, she was married to, she was with Tony Gonzalez. Then she was with Patrick Weitzel. She married him.
Famous agent in Hollywood.
Famous agent.
Okay. Good history lesson here.
Yeah.
This is good.
The divorce, she ended up with $100 million in the divorce.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so she's fine on her own. She
She's
does
fine
not
on her
need
own.
Jeff Bezos' money.
She's incredibly smart. I mean, I know her. She's although she doesn't talk to me anymore. Why would she? Right. But you know, she's really smart. She's accomplished, and she's a huge celebrity now.
Yeah, and they're in love. I think you're right. I wouldn't bet against them getting
Mackenzie's
married.
already ahead of Bezos on another. She already got divorced again, right?
Well,
from the
she's
teaser.
getting divorced.
The
Yeah,
process of it.
Jesus.
I know. Wow.
Want to talk about another reconciliation?
One more thing.
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone. Let's end on the dog, Dwight.
Yes.
So
this is shocking to me, by the way.
So look, Dwight was a source of conflict with them, a big source of conflict.
Yeah, wasn't it the straw that broke the camel's back? Sort of.
It was part of it.
technically.
Sly says no. We have sources that say absolutely, but not.
At a minimum,
but hold on.
Right?
No, I should not say that. That's not fair. That they had argued over it, and it opened up a bigger
wounds,
issues. Yeah, but she didn't want Dwight. He wanted Dwight.
Right.
And he put that tattoo on his arm, which was, I wanted to say passive aggressive, it's just aggressive, where he covered up her face
with the dog,
with Dwight.
Although now with her face underneath it, it's a beautiful dog. It's like beautiful underneath.
This
cheekbones and stuff.
We are told it wounded her so when she saw that tattoo. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we wanted to find out where Dwight was, because now that Sylvester and Jennifer are back together.
They are back together.
Where's Dwight? Well, Dwight is at the family home, and guess what? Jennifer loves the dog.
What a happy ending to this whole thing, because I assumed that Dwight was taken out back like Old Yeller or readopted. I did not assume that Dwight, Jennifer, and Sylvester would live happily ever after. Did you see this on the table? This is great.
I did kind of. It's Sylvester Stallone. So essentially the bottom line here is that he got his way on both fronts. He got to keep his woman. He got to keep his dog, which is all he ever wanted.
Hold on. There's one other thing that needs to get done.
And I'm curious if Jennifer actually won anything in this, if there's any compromise, or if she
Harvey's right. The last piece is the shoulder, right? Does the shoulder get addressed?
He's got to get this tattoo removed.
He has to, because he was allowed to keep the dog, which is a constant reminder walking around the house. He can't have the shoulder and the dog.
It really bothered
her.
It really bothered her.
I think the cover-up is next, right? Although then she's going to be superimposed on a dog face.
This is
and
another.
It's going to be a real difficult.
Well, no, this
is
is literally a case where the cover-up is worse than the crime. Oh my God. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.